India's G20 presidency is historic, being called ambitious. For you, what is the big takeaway, sir?
Good evening, Maria. Yes, thank you. It was a pleasure being on your show. The big takeaway for me was, of course, other than the declaration itself, was the inclusion of the AU. I've lived in Africa, served in Africa for 6 years, both East and West Africa as secretary. Entire Africa was under my charge, so I've met many of the leaders there. So I know a little bit about Africa. And they were always very disappointed that they were sort of marginalized. Their views were not being taken into account. So they felt left out, so to speak. So even when I would go and visit as secretary, they were very pleased that, somebody's come from India and, come to listen to us, talk to us. So in that sense, even though I wasn't a politician, didn't have the political sort of... so in that sense, getting AU on board is really the biggest takeaway. The significance of it, you mentioned some of the points, but I just want to add to the other points that you haven't mentioned, is that 60% of the renewable energy assets are in Africa. And if we are going to focus on renewable energy, well, 60% of those assets are there. 30% of the minerals needed for these assets are based out of Africa. They have the youngest population. Their growth rates of their economies are one of the fastest rates at the moment. Several economies are growing very fast. And countries like Kenya, fintech is really advanced there. They can give India a run for their money. So there are pockets of excellence. South Africa is a great power in innovation. So there are in MSMEs, banking, so there are some sectors where they have strengths and they could move ahead given the right push and the impetus, which has now come with them being included in the G20. They will be sitting on the table, taking decisions, contributing to the issues that face them, which we were anyway representing as the voice of the Global South, but it's different from having them themselves there do the talking.